And good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another indie comic review, and in this indie comic review I will be reviewing The Closet, Newthink and Little Monsters. I'll now get things quickly set up for the first one that I'll be covering in the review. So for things, we are starting off with Little Monsters first, and jumping into the first things first, and it is, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect with something that's happening inside of the story? Sure enough it does, to which I give it an 8 out of 10. I'll now show you some of the internal art around the beginning, middle and end, as well as you get to see some of the things that are happening in relation to the story. And as we jump into some in the art in the middle of the story, this part of the story around the beginning centers around Ronnie and Raymond, and as you can see here, we get to see someone that they encounter and where they are now. And as you can see, they too are little vampires. I'll now jump towards the middle of the story, and as we jump towards the middle of the story, our characters have caught up with Romy and a couple of others. As they are making their way to somewhat a human outpost. And as things get a little bit more gruesome, we see that these vampires have a bit of a ball and remove the humans. I quite enjoyed the internal art in this, to which I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to jump in relation to the story and its rating. So first things first, did we get any comic references to any of the previous issues? No, we didn't. So let's move to the next area. What did we get in the area of time? Well, in the area of time, we got the year of 1933, to which we, at the beginning of the story, actually got to see something in relation to Ronnie and Raymond. You'll get to see more of that when you pick up the comic for yourself to check it out, and if you want to follow the series, go ahead and follow the series. And of course, the location that it takes place is an area called Nebraska. Moving into the cast of characters, we have Ronnie and Raymond, the twins. We had Billy, we had Romy, we had Yui, and we also had a couple of new characters, John and Laura, to which, as you sort of saw towards the end of the story there, well, they're no longer around. For the overall story rating, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. So now it's time to jump into the next comic that will be reviewed, and that is The Closet, issue 1 by James Tynion. And jumping in the first things first is, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that's happening inside of the story? Sure enough it does, to which I give it an 8 out of 10. I'll now jump to showing some of the internal art around the beginning, middle and end, as well as seeing some of the things that are happening in relation to the story. This is some of the art around the beginning, and as you can see, we've got one of the characters who's sitting at a bar, and we don't really learn much apart from that he likes to brag quite a bit on the piss. As we jump towards the middle of the story, this is linking to this main character's child, and of course, there's their monster. And last but not least, towards the end of the story, to which the kid runs into their parents. For the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the area of the story. First things first, did we get in anything in the area of time? No, we didn't. Did we get anything in relation to the location as to where this takes place? No, we didn't. What about the cast of characters? Well, you know what? I almost thought the writer here was going to forget the cast of characters and their names. Well, that was the only thing that they somewhat remembered. And I must admit, this is very disappointing, even for Tinian. This is not top tier quality storytelling. This feels a little bit more like his low tier storytelling. So the cast of characters consists of Tom and, last but not least, Jamie, who is the husband's offspring. We never really learned the wife's name. It was really stupid. And this is a really disappointing start, especially for Tinian. To which I give the story overall a 6 out of 10. Any lower and this thing would be hitting fool's gold. I don't know if I'll be reviewing this when I get the next issue. So here we are for AWA Upshot's Newthink 1.0. So jumping into first things first, and does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that's happening inside of the story? Sure enough it does, to which I give it an 8 out of 10. I'll now show you some of the internal art in relation to the story, and do take note this is done by Greg Hurwitz. I think by the time this video goes up there would have been some controversy in relation to him, but if I remember, didn't Hurwitz also write Book of Eli, to which, if the radical leftists really wanted to have a go at him, they could say that he did a film promoting some Nazi book? So this is some of the art around the beginning of the story, and it's just constant dialogue, and it's like, really? If I were to point out anything, like, we never really get any interaction as to who the main person is here. Is it the AI? Is it tech itself? What the hell is it? We never really learn, and we never really know. And last but not least, towards the end, to which we get to see the interwebs, and of course a bit of a personal message from him himself. As much as I enjoyed the art, it was missing a lot of human contact, to which I give the art in this story a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to jump into the story and the story rating. So those who follow this channel, there are certain areas that I wish to rate the story. First things first, did we get anything that covered the area of time? Nothing at all. Did we get anything covering the area of locations? Nothing at all. Okay, what about, last but not least, the cast? Did we get anything in relation to the cast? Nothing at all. Overall rating for this run really feels more, or this issue feels more like a run on a social commentary of what's happened with the internet over the past, as you saw at the end, in relation to the past 30 plus years, to which I give a 6.5 out of 10. Those word bubbles terribly help kill the story, or should we say thought bubbles, or whatever the hell they were meant to be. It would have been nice to see at least who the main cast of characters were in this. We didn't even get that. I wouldn't be surprised if issue 2, this thing goes into fool's gold. So we'll find out what happens. I might not even want to review it, issue 2, when it comes out. So we'll see what happens. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.